got the love, she coming through tonight. I try to fuck, no move to fight. Put our differences to the side. Let's go. You get a nigga like me, don't highlight. I got the love, she coming through tonight. No move to fight. Put our differences to the side. To the side. I risk you up, don't you lie. I'm not a hustler, I'm out the way. I'm out the way. No bitch, but don't even.
Hey there. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel. I'm Mrs. Best. I need to update the name. I literally just walked in the door. So please forgive me. I got off work and came here. We have James from Watch Your Mouth Reviews, who is here as always. We are going to go over this extremely tumultuous episode. I'm going to call it that. I think that's the best thing to call it. Before we get into the episode, what did you think of the episode, James? If you had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rate thy episode?
I'm gonna say a 7.
I think that's fair. We said
I'm gonna say a 7. There were only like key moments of the episode that were enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
And what made it a complete, because originally I was gonna say a 4 when you asked me that question, but I had to think about it. There's a moment Garcelle had, which we'll get to, that made it a 5. There's a moment that Sutton had that made it a 6. And I enjoyed the moment between Sutton, Garcelle, and Erica, which we'll get into. So that's what made it a 7 for me.
Okay. All right. I agree with that number. That's the exact number I was going to choose. It just proves we're meant to be. You and I are meant to be. Getting into the episode, just a disclaimer, because there was some stuff in the episode that has to do with, I guess, race and all of that type of stuff, racial biases, stereotypes, all of that. I have and do keep up with what I see at the very least on Instagram and Facebook with the fans. Just because you're not an African-American, or if you are an African-American, let's not accuse people of playing race cards. Let's not be disrespectful. Let's just discuss the episode, give our opinions, and leave it there. We are not net bangers, okay? We ain't got no sets, so we're gonna be respectful. And those of you who aren't respectful, you know how I do. I call you out. I delete your comment and make it to where you can't comment on my channel no more. I don't have time for that. Let's be respectful. All right. So starting the episode, we see Sutton go on a date, and at first I wasn't gonna talk too much about this date, but for the first time, Sutton did not look like the loony one on a date. Now, Sutton she's not the best dater. We love Sutton, and this is part of the reason why we love her, because she's real. She's just the Southern girl. But this guy, the date goes well. Her matchmaker set him up. And remember, Doris helped her find this doggone person when the matchmaker came. And I don't understand why she had Doris to help with the matchmaker. We're going to call Dorit Doris so everyone knows who's new to the channel, because we don't believe her name is really Dorit, and we know that her accent is not real. But I think she's the worst person, and James said this on the last time we saw Sutton do the thing. Dorit, that's the worst person to choose. But on the date, this man who has a wonderful resume when it comes to work and things, and I'm like, well, why is he single? He's not unattractive. He's got a great job. He's a mama's boy. And he sweats. He says he sweats so much that people ask him, why is he wet? And then in addition to that, he said he went to topless shows with his mom. And that was one of a variety of things this man said about his mom. So Sutton, good for you, girl. I can't imagine dating. If my husband was to leave me, I'd probably just be alone forever, because I feel like dating today is so much harder than it was years ago. But I thought the scene was funny. Did you feel the same?
Here's my thing. I thought the scene was funny, but I didn't blame Sutton for getting irritated, because clearly this man has not been on a date in a very long time. You don't talk about your mama on the date. You don't sit up there talking about, and it was countless times. I think it was more than 10 times that he brought up his mom. And it was like, this is the first date. What about you? Because what that gave me, even though his mom was 80 years old, it gave me that she was still very much involved in the say-so of what he does. Because if you've been in LA since 1990, your mama still lives back in New York.
What is happening?
yeah, what's going on here? I need some dialogue. Why, like, the same age as me, 33, that you've been in LA, 33 years, why have you not crossed any bridges? Or maybe he has, and we just don't know it.
Listen, it's already enough. I don't get with people to get with. No one gets with anyone to date their fucking parents. So he needs to talk about his mama less and maybe just let people see that he's close with her. Because if he lets them see versus talking about it, I think it could be two
Right.
things. But good luck on your dating journey, Sutton. And thank you for actually being open with your dating situation. Because a lot of these heifers come on these housewife shows and don't want to discuss their dating, which I don't get.
Right, which is really ridiculous because it's like, if y'all are going to be single on a show that's labeled Housewives, then in the terms of you wanting to become one housewife or a wife in general, we would like to see the process, because you could be helping millions of single people who really aren't doing this right to get ahead. So yeah, I just feel like I could have enjoyed the scene a little bit more. So I appreciate Sutton for being open and wanting to share that detail of her life. I think that that's amazing.
I agree. So we then see in another scene Garcelle and Erica meet, which was different. And then Sutton pops up. And we have to remember, for those who have watched the show, at the very least, since Sutton has been there and Garcelle, in the beginning, Sutton and Erica were the ones bonded the closest. They both came from the South. They both had similarities. They both had been through things with powerful men. So they were close. So it was, I guess, kind of nice to see them come back and kick it, because I did feel like, separate from Erica's drama, that she did align more with that side of the cast. However, I still don't trust Erica, so I'll leave it there. But they do speak about Denise, and Erica says that she has turned the page on that, and that Denise was mad about the threesome comment that Erica made about her kids. I don't think you should mention threesomes and someone's kids in the same sentence, especially around bougie white women from Beverly Hills. But that's just my personal opinion. But at the same time, with it being that their father is Charlie Sheen, I feel like they've seen, heard, and know a lot more. So it is what it is. I'm not going to get into that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I felt
You're
like
supposed to
the same could be said about Denise too.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's true.
I kind of felt like, I don't know. I felt like Denise was grasping at straws with this argument about the whole kid, and I thought that then we just didn't have it. Well, no, I'm talking about the season where Erica made that comment.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of felt like even then, she was talking to the adults. The kids just happened to be at the next table. So what my mama used to tell me when I was a kid is stay out of grown people's conversations and just leave it at that. I don't understand why this had to continue 4 years later. Like, that was ridiculous to me to even watch that. And then for Denise to just still bring that up and act like, I felt like there were more things that Erica did that really could have been addressed since Lisa Rinna's no longer on the show. I felt like there was more that you could have addressed with Erica other than that situation. I just think you were just trying to find something and you chose the wrong thing.
That's why they got to figure out the Beverly Hills cast, because for too many seasons, we have people that could have been good housewives, the people who should have stayed so that we could see certain things work through, leave, or be ran off. Kyle, Doris, Rinna, like, they have ran off so many people from this show. So, anywho, basically, these ladies get drunk. They get lit. They just start ordering drinks. And after they ordered like the third drink, because the type of drink they ordered is normally made pretty strong, I was like, oh, okay, they're not going to be sober. But I wish that Erica, Sutton, Erica, Sutton, Garcelle, Crystal, I wish that they would like band together and just ice out Kyle and Dorit, since Kyle and Dorit like to do that type of stuff. Because I just want Kyle and Dorit gone at this point by any means necessary. Like, that's just my personal thing. But I know everybody feels different. Some people love the Dorito. Remember, Doritos are the worst chip for your health. So many chemicals and things in it, just like Dorit, fillers.
And anyone name that is Doris usually does not end in pleasantries. It's always they're either too much or they don't give enough, and that's what I'm saying about Doris. Doris is exhausting. And what I'm gonna say also about Doris is that she has no storyline. And I want
Fun.
y'all to pay attention to this. She
Mhm.
has no storyline, and she's trying any little bit of information she gets from one of the other ladies, she heightens it to make it bigger than what it is. And we'll get to it, but yeah.
So I agree with everything that James said. Doris has not had a storyline in years, and she was actually supposed to be fired. Production had tried to get rid of her, and she was supposed to be demoted down to just a friend of. But then all of that stuff with Tom Girardi happened, and so they kept everything the same so that Erica would share, in my opinion. But they should have got rid of Doris at that time. But we did see Doris in the car on the way to Crystal's having a Taco Tuesday at her house on an actual Tuesday. And Doris and Kyle ride together. And she talks about, Miss Dorit talks about how she feels hurt that Kyle is not telling people the things that she is doing. And she feels left out. Here's the thing that I don't like before I go any further. You're mad, Dorito, aka Doris, that Kyle basically is doing things and not making changes. You can talk to Kyle about this, but when Sutton or Garcelle or Crystal brings it up, it's offensive in World War III. But Doris can bring it up in a private car and on camera. And you do nothing, Kyle. You're both full of shit. So I'm going to go through the worst of this little scene lightly because that shows they're both full of shit, in my opinion. So then Kyle says
Absolutely.
she's mad at Doris because of something said at the reunion, which was a cajillion years ago in reality TV time. And basically what Doris said was about the Kathy Hilton and Kyle Richards issue. Doris stood up for Kathy and said, no, you have to take some type of accountability in this, Kyle. You can't put everything on Kathy. So they showed the clip of that. And basically Kyle is upset about that. And if you were upset with her about that, then why are you running around to her house? You've had plenty of opportunity to talk to her about it, Kyle, and you haven't said shit. So it just did not make sense. It was bullshit. And Doris says what I said on a couple of times on these recaps. Seems that Kyle is suddenly interested in becoming everything that Morgan is interested and or has. Tattoos. Morgan has a bunch of tattoos. Down to sobriety. Morgan Wade does not drink. She is completely sober. She does not drink. She does not smoke. She does not anything. Now suddenly Kyle is sober. I also found out that Morgan Wade is a big exercise person. So now we see Kyle suddenly exercising like crazy. This is how you know that this is more than a friendship. I have had close friends for many years. James is one of my close friends. Listen, we have similarities, but we will discuss our differences to the end of time. But I'm not going to change something just because it's something that I see him doing or getting into. That's weird. So how did you feel about that Doris had to say, making it the Dorit show, the poor me show?
It was basically trying to get something from Kyle to make it stick. So she has something to talk about so she won't be classified as boring on this TV show. I'm going to say this about that whole situation about the reunion thing. I felt like Kyle, like you said, was full of shit and really did not care about that, because if that really did bother you, there wouldn't be no scenes with you and Dorit right now. You wouldn't have went to Vegas and shared a bed with her. You wouldn't have invited her to your house countless times this season.
That's right.
And you would have addressed that when y'all had that kumbaya moment in that little middle of nowhere with the Falcon lady or Hawk lady, whatever the fuck that lady's name was. Y'all, you would have said it then. That's how I know Kyle is full of shit too.
Yep.
Because why would you wait all these episodes? We on episode 9. Why would you wait until episode 9 to air this shit?
Listen, they aren't even thinking. I think Doris especially, but Kyle as well. I think that the fame has gone to their heads, and I don't want to hear you, Kyle, stand talk about she's been famous. No, the bitch was a child actress and some shit that was from ages ago that our parents' watched. Okay, it's 2023. She hasn't done shit but a Halloween movie, which don't require much acting skills. You just got to holler and run. So
first of all, didn't nobody know that was her until she said something a few seasons ago? I did not know that was Kyle
tell
Richards.
us.
She had to tell us that was the same. Hell, I thought that was another actress named Kyle Richards.
Garcelle ain't come on this show telling us that she was fancy. Or that
right,
she was
exactly. And I don't even know her as being fancy. I know her as being like, she did a movie with Chris Rock, and it was hilarious because they were both in a laundry chute, and somebody was going to shoot them down. And I remember that. That's what I remember Garcelle from before I saw her on this thing.
She did a Marvel movie in recent time. So Spider-Man, One That's Love. So
and then she did another movie with Lindsay Lohan that I liked as well that everybody hated. It was like I Know Who Killed Me, and that's where Kenya Moore played a stripper.
Oh, that movie! I like that movie too.
Yes, I love that movie. So everyone hates that movie, but I was like, no, I actually get it, and I think that's just the author in me because that's how I would write my book. So that's why I like it so much because I actually feel like that could be something I write. So yeah.
See, well, I like that. Maybe someday Fraternity Row will be a movie. It could be.
I actually would like it to be a series since it's going to continue on from where it is. So
that's actually smart. Well, lots of books are getting turned into series, so you definitely have hope for that. Anybody who comes across that, if you're in production, whether it be Atlanta or California, James got a book.
Preferably California.
Really?
Because they get the bigger budgets. Yes,
this is true.
They get the bigger budgets, and they get a lot more people endorsing it than on the side.
That is true. That is true. So overall, Dorit, she says she feels replaced by Kyle. I think that is the dumbest thing, friends, because I feel replaced. People need to learn to be secure in their friendships, and I'll leave that there. The next thing we see is them arrive at Crystal's house for her Taco Tuesday. And then immediately the fuck shit begins. We see Doris and Kyle try to get Crystal's friend, I believe Nia, to bring up Sutton's meltdown because they're talking to her, and her husband is somebody who's connected to Magic Mike in Vegas and things of that nature. And they're talking about how, oh, we know someone who was freaked out about, the Magic Mike. And I'm like, why are you bringing up this girl who's supposed to be your friend to a random person? Even if she wasn't your friend, I'm not going to be talking shit about people I don't like to random people or those who I've just met. So I thought that was mad weird. And it shows these girls have nothing better to do with their lives, obviously. But we see Kim Richards come in, and I just want to say this to Kyle. You never fucking learn, and this is why people are sick of you. Why is it that season after season you have to have a sister come? We have to see your sister or something. We don't give a flying you-know-what about your sisters. People only like Kim because she checked Brenna. And Kathy Hilton, we liked her because she was quirky and funny and all of that stuff. But we don't really care. I feel like if you give a damn about your sisters, you'll stop bringing them on the show. That every time you bring them on, you guys seem to fall out or there's a problem within your family.
You know what? I didn't mind seeing Kim. I didn't because, y'all know Kim is one of my top 5 favorite housewives in the whole franchise. Because, yes, that scene with Rena was so underrated. I just feel like, yes, she cleared that whole floor. But I agree with you. I feel like Kyle is bringing Kim around to prove a point that she's not into it with her sisters or whatever. And it's like, that is so stupid. And it's calculated at the end of the day. Because if I was your sister, I would take offense that you're bringing me on here just to prove we don't have beef.
13 seasons of you beefing with your sisters. Just because you bring them on, Kyle, we're still going to know that y'all have had issues.
Right. When it's like, at the end of the day, you bringing Kim or Kim coming around you and y'all act like you have beef is not going to change my mind of me feeling bad for Kim when y'all were in the back of that fucking limo. You bring Kim around or Kim being on the show and you proving y'all don't have beef does not mean that on season 4, you weren't talking about her drug problem, letting them girls rip her and asking her what she's on and stuff. Meanwhile, becoming friends with the half of who started it in the first place. That's not going to make me forget about that.
Yeah. Yeah. That Kyle did become really good friends with somebody who screwed over Kim. And that's shady because no matter the relationship you have with your family, you shouldn't be friending their enemies.
That's still, at the end of the day, that's still your sister. That's your blood. And the fact that you would, sell your sister up the river for some old big lipped ass heifer, I just can't with you. I cannot with you.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely heavily agree. So we then see, I'm so sick of this bitch. We then see Doris, aka Dorit, again. While they're all having dinner and gathering, she finds out that Sutton, Garcelle, and Erica went out without her. And she makes a comment because, look at James. He's like,
Because
she showed her entire ass the whole episode, but she basically.
I wanted somebody to pull an Evelyn Lozada, and I'm not a violent person, y'all. I'm really not. I wanted someone to pull an Evelyn Lozada and just throw their drink in her face.
I want to see what she would do. I'm not gonna lie.
I do too. I don't know why I want to see it. I just want to see what happens. I feel like we're gonna see the white woman tears, and it's gonna turn to a scene of Rosewood back in 1997. If y'all know what I'm talking about.
I love that movie.
Yes, we all love that movie. And that is whenever someone tells me white privilege doesn't exist, I always point them in the direction to that movie. Because that's exactly how it works.
That's exactly it. It does. It does exist. It is a fact. And those who don't want to accept that fact probably are experiencing the privilege that they're unwilling to acknowledge. But Dorit, basically, she doesn't like that she wasn't invited to the dinner. Just fucking fire her, Bravo. Just fire her already. Obviously, the other women don't want to deal with her. And that's why I say those calling the race card. Okay, the other white women don't want to deal with Dorit. The only people who want to deal with Dorit were Kyle and Renna. There's no one else that's wanted to deal with Dorit. She talks too much. Andy Cohen can barely deal with Dorit. He can barely handle her. So basically, after that comment is made, they move on. And for some reason, Erica tells everyone that Sutton made out with her driver, which I guess her driver is her friend and all of this stuff. And they built some form of a relationship, whatever the hell is her business. So then we see, this was just a lot that happened at this dinner. So I'm going to go through a lot of weird stuff. Kim, why are you using your scarf as storage? Why don't you have a purse? Kim was pulling out pieces of toilet paper out of her scarf. Like, that looks weird to be pulling out toilet paper and hand sanitizer from your neck. Like, I'm just like, but this is also a woman who.
When I saw that, I was like, why?
She's different. She's very much so different. Kim is a weirdo. Let's just call it what it is. And that doesn't mean she's on drugs. She's just eccentric, which is like.
Oh no, I don't think. Yeah, I definitely don't think she's on drugs.
Crazy, but acts crazy. She's eccentric.
She's out there because that shit was so funny. And when Kyle made the reference, like, what else is going to come out there? I was like, yeah, I'm waiting for her to pull out like a whole, sling blade. I'm ready for her to bring out, just a whole bunch of shit.
Not the blade. I cannot.
She'll cut somebody. Yeah,
she might. I believe it. Listen, don't sleep on Kim. But I thought that was funny. So we then see Crystal's friend Nia again, who Kyle and Doris tried to get, to talk shit to Sutton. And she takes up their advice for some reason. And she asked about Vegas to Sutton publicly, not knowing this woman at all. And this is exactly what Anne Marie did to Sutton in the last episode. If you don't know people, don't ask them about shit that you have nothing to do with. Don't ask them about shit that other people have complained to you about. Like Nia, whatever the hell your name is, you should have known, because you're supposed to be Crystal's friend, that you can't trust them. Separate from that, even if you're no one's friend, you should have known, like, oh, that's weird. I don't know these women, and they're laughing about another one. That off top, when people who I just met are talking shit to me about every other person that they know, especially at work, now I'm like, oh, okay, let me never tell you my business, because you're just going to go and talk about me to everybody else. You can't trust those people. So she asked Sutton, why she was bothered by Magic Mike, even though it wasn't her business, and Sutton shuts it down and ask the question that is important. How do you know, or I believe it was Garcelle who asked, how do you know about our private cast trip in Vegas when we just met you? And it just becomes a disaster of things. So they talk about the same issue they talked about episodes ago. And Doris then basically tries to slut shame Sutton. And I didn't like that. She tried to use her making out with her driver as slut shaming Sutton, who was freaking out because she had to wear pants. I don't like that. If anything, Doris, we could be slut shaming you and calling you all sorts of gold diggers, because ain't no way in hell, ain't no way on God's green earth that PK gets that thing wet and slippery. There's no way. I said it. If you're under 18, you shouldn't be watching my channel anyway. But I'm just saying, there's no way that PK does it. So I don't understand why she did that. to Sutton. I thought that was really fucking low, honestly, to slut shame as women, especially in our community of women in general. We try not to slut shame each other because men can go and sleep around and do whatever they want. And people are, oh, that's just men. But women, if we do the same thing or even just kiss someone, not even sleep with them, people will make it seem like we're doing something negative or we won't be good enough to become a wife. So for Dorit to do that is kind of like, what the hell? But Garcelle steps in and defends her friend as she fucking should. And basically Garcelle checked her as well because they're holding Dorit accountable for the things that she's doing. And Sutton then asked Dorit, well, why did you bring up the driver if you're not doing that to embarrass me? You know, why would you bring up the driver if your goal is not to embarrass me? Who cares if I made out with him? And then you're doing it in a negative way. So we see that Dorit can't stand being checked. And when this happens, Garcelle steps in and then Dorit says that she is attacked. Garcelle did not raise her voice. Garcelle did not curse at this woman. Garcelle simply explained, this is what she did. She said it's a friend, but what is the relevance to what we're discussing now? Because this conversation started off of discomfort with Magic Mike. So Dorit feels and says to Garcelle she is attacked. And once that happens, and for those who don't understand, Black people get painted aggressively. We can say something in a regular tone and people will say that we're yelling at them. I think that Black women experience this probably the heaviest within the community, where those nasty attitudes and stuff like that. So microaggressions, it's not my job, as Garcelle said, to educate the rest of you. Go educate yourself if you really care to fucking change. But microaggressions are little things that aren't like blatantly racist, you know, like, oh, I don't like you because you're Black. They might say something to you like, oh, so you wash your hair when it's like that? Little things like that. So by Dorit saying like, you're attacking me, when someone who is completely calm is not attacking her, when she would not say, when she's been in similar situations with these white women, you're attacking me when they do it. Instead, they holler and do the most with each other. But Garcelle is attacking you. So that wasn't a problem. And I've said recaps ago that Doris threw microaggressions. I've been peeping it. Apparently Garcelle has too, because she checks the hell out of her. And Garcelle basically said the world is woke in her confessional and, you know, in a place of where we're trying to have equality, but Dorit is not there. Garcelle says she needs to play catch up. So then she says to Dorit, she did not attack her. Dorit acts like she didn't understand. So Garcelle basically tells her she is sick of her privilege and explains once again that she has not attacked this girl. So good job, Garcelle. Black people, people of color, when you're dealing with someone that you know is clearly racially stereotyping you, throwing microaggressions, the best thing you can do is to remain calm, because you're going to confirm that negative bias they have about you if you do anything extra. And we shouldn't have to go through it, but that's how it goes. So when Doris asked Garcelle what that means, Erica, Miss, I don't want to pay any of them back. I don't understand empathy. Shady ass. I'm always in a lawsuit. Erica Girardi even understands, because she's from the South, and white or Black in the South, you're around a lot of Black people, especially in Georgia. And Erica says, you can't say that. You just cannot say that. And it's interesting to me that she even had to be the one to go and explain that. But Erica basically says, different words have different meanings when it comes to Black people because of this country's history of racism. And I was like, you know what, Erica, pats on back. Because it's nice to see someone who doesn't have skin like this to say it, because we can scream and holler until people have skin opposite of this skin to stand up for us. I don't think we'll get anywhere, but that's personal. So Erica explains it. And I think it's shameful that Dorit does not understand this. That's part of the reason they wanted to cast Garcelle on the show, because y'all had no color on the cast, whatever, ever. And after Erica, the white woman, explains to Dorit why it's offended, she then understands and says, asks Garcelle to have a conversation and gives another fake apology. And Garcelle said just what she should have said. It's not my job to educate you. So no, I don't want to have a conversation. And I don't like that Doris's confessional at the end of this scene. She says, Garcelle should know that she didn't mean anything to be that way. And I just don't understand. Why do we have to know that you didn't mean anything bad? Like, I don't understand why we have to do more work. But Doris, at your big age and being on television on a network that has lots of African-American people, with all that happened in 2020, especially here in fucking California, okay, they were marching through every street of LA during the BLM protests. You should know. And I remember back when that was happening, because I did follow Dorit at the time, years ago, she was one of the people posting and advocating, acting like she understood. But now we see it's probably something your publicist had you do. So how did you feel about that interaction with Garcelle and Dorit and Sutton James? Now this
I think you summed it up perfectly. And I feel like Dorit's response is how a lot of, I'm not going to always say white, but a lot of other ethnicities, including white, feel about, Black people's energy and words and everything. It's always taken to the heightened, or you always don't understand, or you always feel it's aggressive because they say it in a different tone than you do. And it's, very sad that it's getting to a point where Black people are becoming exhausted trying to get other ethnicities to understand that just because we have a different tone, we say it in a different manner, does not mean that you should take it in a way of fear or as an aggression, because you would have said it in a pleasant tone, or you would have said it in an upbeat tone, or however. So I was proud of Garcelle in that moment, because I felt like, yes, they need to be, all people who don't understand need to be said in this way. It's not my job to educate you anymore. We have tried as a Black society to get other ethnicities to understand our point. They simply do not want to. So what do we do at this point? We throw up the surrender flag and say, you figure it out.
I agree.
So that's how I look at it.
It's fucking annoying at this point. It's really annoying when people act like they don't understand the fight or understand the struggle. Like, I don't know what to tell y'all. At the end of the day, why do you feel so threatened just because we're aggressive when you're the one that can literally call the police and tell a lie and have somebody who's done nothing into trouble? We have something to fear. Y'all don't. Y'all started the shit that we're, trying to march to get out of. Anywho, moving along with that, if anybody has any further opinions or anything, feel free to leave them in the comments. They put a pin in that conversation about the privilege, and Doris can't stop. She didn't fucking learn. Now, most people who get caught up, regardless if it's against Black people, whatever, in something that has to do with race or religion that's offensive on camera, are going to have the common sense to be like, I'm going to just be quiet and go with the joke. But now we see that Doris has an ego problem that probably comes from her fucking privilege. And she doesn't know how to put a pin in anything or stop. So she then asked Crystal, because she's trying to deflect on anybody else, because her and PK aren't together. And obviously they were going through stuff while this was filming, but she's probably doing all this, so we don't have to see that. And she basically asked Crystal about the coffee and vodka comment that Sutton, Garcelle, a bunch of people have confirmed the comment. So Sutton interrupts everything. It says to Dorit, she does not care and she wants to move forward, which I was like, that's right. Shut Dorit down, because I think everybody could tell she wanted a moment so bad at this dinner. Yes. And James, she needed a moment like people need water. She needed a moment, because I've never seen a housewife ping pong in one scene like this. It was sad. So Sutton won't entertain her bullshit. And in my opinion, I think all of these women are jealous of Sutton because she has the most money, and these are some very shallow, materialistic humans. And so they want something like that, It's ridiculous. So it looks like people are fed up with Doris's fake apologies. And after Sutton won't entertain her, and Crystal won't entertain her, she then goes for Denise. And Denise basically tells Doris, when she tries to come for Denise and her to bring up the conversation she needs to have with Erica, Denise did the best thing ever. The one thing she did right, even though she's been fucked up on this show off of something. Denise looked at Doris and said, bring it down a notch. Takes a sip of her tea. Yeah, Dorit, it's not cool. It's just not cool.
I 100% agree.
And Dorit's face was like, none of these bitches are going to take the bait. None of you are going to bite. They are tired of you. And the fans have been tired of you. And I hope that this is the demise of you on this fucking show, you racist fucking heifer. I'm sick of her. You want to throw microaggressions against Black people, Dorit, but you want to have all our styles with your fake ponytails, your wigs, your lace fronts, and do all them things. Can't stand her. So I'm not here for her. But after she gets up and she leaves because nobody will argue with her, which I thought was funny. I was like, so you can't just sit and coexist and laugh. It has to be about you, or people have to be upset and getting into it. It's Taco Tuesday, Dorit. No one wants to be fucking mad or discussing serious topics while they're eating tacos. And that's a fact, because tacos are amazing. So after she leaves, Erica and Denise do have their talk, which to me was funny as hell. Erica brings up Denise's daughter and the fact that I guess Denise and her oldest daughter have an OnlyFans. Just because Denise, because I'm not going to get into all of that conversation because they said a bunch of nothing, and I think it's really simple. Just because somebody calls you a name or don't want to be your friend does not, even if they steal from you, it doesn't mean that you get to talk about their children. That's how I feel. So that's all I'll say on that. Did you have any comments on that?
I did. Because as I said, I felt like the bullshit with Denise, and I still stand on that. The bullshit with Denise and this whole Erica said this is about your kids, that was the wrong target. You're really mad at Lisa Rinna, and I feel like because she's on the show no more, you want to go after Erica and you grasping at straws, because I still feel like there was more that could have been laid at Erica's feet other than this whole kid thing. That shit was stupid. Now, Erica, I understood the frustration. I did. But at the same time, to pose a question, well, who is more profitable, you or your daughter, on OnlyFans, that was fucking disrespectful.
That's where it got wrong, because it's like, it's nothing wrong with exposing the daughter for having an OnlyFans, regardless.
Right, because that's something we can Google.
It's public.
Yeah, it's public. Yeah, that's something we can Google.
But to ask her that
I was like,
low.
wow, because what you're insinuating is whole basis when you say that. And that is, and for somebody who married a man who is 20 years older than she is and all this, that's not something that you should do.
Erica should be figuring out why she's all over the headlines again for lip singing at her Vegas residency. She should figure that out.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm mistaken. Hold on. That man older than that. He's older. He's 20 years more than. How old is Tom Girardi? Let me Google this real quick because I don't want to be wrong. I said 20. Hold on. I think 30. It's 30. It's 30 years. It's 30. Sorry, y'all. 30 years older. You married a man that was 30 years older than you. So I don't want to hear from you about somebody's whole facts when yours is probably not that much different from hers. Just saying.
The only person on this cast who was really like married to someone that seemed to make sense was Sutton, Garcelle, and Kyle at the very least. Now her marriage is falling apart, but we know what it is. But I don't like that Erica did that. Leave people's kids out of it. They got to stop doing that. They need to put a clause in the housewife contracts. Like, you cannot arbitrate, do not talk about kids, and do not try to self-produce, because I'm tired of it. But that was the episode. There was a lot that happened in one scene, and Beverly Hills has a habit of doing that. Shit always goes down at their dinners, whether they're in the country or on a cast trip. And basically the episode for the most part was their dinner. So, I mean, I hope everybody enjoyed their tacos, but I don't think that was possible with the fucked up conversations that happened. But I was happy that Doris got put in her place, a little more than, Kyle, because I never really took Kyle to be like racist, but Doris, I've always kind of looked at her like with the side eye. Like,
I feel like in the beginning when Garcelle came on the show, she did kind of play like Kyle kind of played like the snooty, I'm unsure about a black woman.
She did.
And
Like it takes her
yeah,
a
it
little
was
longer.
kind of like, yeah, it kind of took her. She came around, but I kind of felt like I saw it in the beginning and then it kind of maneuvered over.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can't quite say that for sure because I saw tendencies of it. But Doris absolutely it is, and it's an elitist racism, y'all. There's a difference. An elitist racism is when a classified person who has substantial stats goes into seeing another person who may have equal or just as much credibility. And it's like, well, how dare she? Because the way I obtained my wealth was through the person I married. How does she get it on her own? It's kind of like Giselle, when it became Giselle Monique. I gave a clear example. If you guys watch my channel, I gave a clear example of that. How dare this dark-skinned black lady have more than I have? How dare she? When my skin tone and my light skin privilege was supposed to get that. It's the same thing with white women. When they see a black woman have more than them, how dare she have more than me? Or
like,
and it's a certain look. Yeah. It's like, how dare she have more than me? Or how dare she have that man? I should have that man. Or how dare she drive that Range Rover? I should have that Range Rover. It's always something where, and like I said, it's an elitist racism. Elitist racism is when you think that because you have more, you see somebody who has substantially more than you do, you get jealous automatically. That's what it is.
Yeah. I think that I would definitely believe that with Doris, especially because she's having the worst financial issues that she's probably ever had while with PK. So I definitely agree with that. And we will leave it there. That's something to think about. Words of wisdom from an actual author. So I encourage everybody to think about that. Let's be respectful in the comments. I appreciate those who are watching. I believe I haven't seen what Bravo's doing. I have to look at my TV schedule. If Housewives of Beverly Hills comes on this upcoming Wednesday, which is after Christmas, we will recap it on Thursday as normal. It looks like a lot of stuff is taking a break. On my channel, we do Basketball Wives. James is always here with us for those recaps. Basketball Wives will not be back, you guys, until January 8th.
Praise
so that means
Lord.
that, and when it comes back, it's just the finale. So, well, at least I know that for Basketball Wives LA. But we will be back recapping that then.
Yes, and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, I do believe is playing on Tuesday. So I do believe so. So we will recap that because that will be the season finale for that show. So we are done with that one on my channel, which it felt like it was a quick season because they gave the entire time.
Good. Yeah, it was
they gave the entire time. So y'all make sure y'all catch me. I think I'll do Bell Collective in Salt Lake City on Wednesday, which will give us a full break. Yeah, and then
Salt Lake right now, I think, is carrying all the Housewives franchises now. For at least interest. It's not just one dinner spread out for an hour. So I'm happy with that. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We will have a song review. What day is it today? Thursday? What day is it?
Today's Thursday.
Yeah, duh. Woo, sorry, y'all. We will have a song review tomorrow on the channel. We also have some other things that are going on. But to those who just watched the channel for the Housewives of Beverly Hills, from myself and Watch Your Mouth Reviews, we wish you guys a very, very, very Merry Christmas. If you're Jewish, we wish you a Happy Hanukkah. If you celebrate Kwanzaa, Happy Kwanzaa. Emoji's coming means unity. So happy holidays to everybody. Thank you for being here, James.
Thank you for having me.
On me. I appreciate you.
No
and
problem.
with that, I say farewell. Good night.
Have a good one.